All right, guys, welcome back to another video. In case you didn't know, my name is Josh McCauley. I'm an online fitness and health coach, and I help those struggling with addiction or wanting to get clean of addiction. I do one-on-one coaching if you want to get jacked, if you want to lose weight, gain muscle, and I also do one-on-one coaching if you want to just better your life in general, build habits, learn how to have a solid life so you can be the person you want to be. And as for sobriety, you don't have to be sober. You just have to want to better yourself. And if you get sober along the way, that's a bonus. I open up and I tell you guys things about my life because I want you to connect. I want you to feel safe. And I want you to know you are not alone. That even if you're someone who has had everything, doesn't mean you don't have struggles. It's okay to have struggles. So a lot of you guys, I put up an Instagram poll, you wanted to hear about Rehab. What I thought about Rehab. Did I want to go? Do I recommend it? Things like that. So, and also if you didn't know, I struggled with cocaine and gambling and alcohol. The main reason I went was cocaine and gambling, but I needed help in general. I needed help on so many levels. But basically, I went on April 8th, I believe was my first day there. I did not want to go whatsoever. I had reached out to my mom maybe a month prior to going, saying, like, I need help. There were obvious signs that I needed help. I was broke. I was asking my family for money. I was, in a bad spot. I was spiraling. And everybody around me could see it. I was risking losing my job or getting in trouble at work because I wasn't performing well. I was staying up for 3 days on end and sleeping through meetings and, not being the person I needed to be. And to be quite honest, I didn't fucking care. All I cared about was, fueling my addiction. I remember waiting at a gas station at 8 in the morning, waiting for my blood to respond. Very low spot. I needed help, but I didn't want to go to rehab. The week prior to going, I was at my house watching my dog. All my family was in Florida. I crashed out kind of hard. I'm not going to go into detail yet. I'll tell you guys eventually, but basically my parents were worried and they flew home early from Florida. I was staying up for days on end and I started seeing things that weren't there. We'll leave it at that. So they came home concerned, we're going to get you help. We need to get you help. And I'm like, no. Basically, I was on lockdown in the house because, I kept going out to get more stuff, yayo. And, I talk about this kind of lightheartedly now because I'm okay now and I've come to terms with who I am and what I was. But, it was a lot. And, I'm blessed to have the family I do because I put my mom through a lot, my parents through a lot, and I'm grateful that I have them. But basically, I was supposed to go back to work on a Monday. I was home all week. My family was trying to convince me. My mom had reached out to a rehab facility, and they were texting me that whole week. I had different people. I had probably like 10 different people texting me, "Hey, dude, like, there's a way out." Like, they were calling me, blowing up my phone. I don't know if you guys know Jersey Jerry from Barstool, but shout out him. He called me on his personal, left me a voicemail, said, "Hey, it's Jersey Jerry." And, I just didn't answer. I'm like, I'm not going. I'm not getting brainwashed by you fools, like all of that. I'll do the 75 hard and I'll get right. And at the time I truly believed that, I can handle it. I can do it on my own, but I couldn't. I'd tried so many times. So it was Sunday night or Sunday morning. I was, had been up for a couple days, tweaking out. I was drunk. My sister came out in the morning. I was writing. I was just writing shit. I don't even know what I was writing. And my sister came out, sat me down, basically convinced me to go. Um, you know, I was told that I was allowed to get fucked up the whole way there, and I was like, I'm down. Took a couple Xanax, um, drank the whole way. My mom drove me. My mom went with me all the way to California. Um, Hopped in the car. We drove to Albany Airport. I was bumping King Vaughn, the whole way there. Um, just kind of trapping out. I was having fun. It was my last hurrah. Little did I know. So I was convinced Sunday morning. I was in California Sunday night. Um, People from the rehab picked me up. My mom drove to the rehab with me. I got checked in. They checked my system. They're like, "Oh, damn, you got all this shit in your system? Like, what the fuck are you doing?" Um, Checked in. My mom pulled out. Went home. I was there, and you know, um, I was pretty lit going in there, and I slept. So I slept the first day, 3 days. Pretty much, I had gotten up throughout the time, but I pretty much just rested. Um, but rehab. So this was like a $3 million facility. There were 3 different houses. Um, it was beautiful. About um, they accept insurance, so it's about $1,000 a day. Um, you know, and the first week you're on taper medication, so you're not allowed to leave the premise whatsoever. I was pissed about. I couldn't even go on a walk, but yeah. So the first couple days we're getting settled in. The hardest part and why I didn't want to go was because I had to notify my job, and I was in a bad spot, and I can't miss work, I can't do this, I can't do that, and you know I wasn't allowed to have my phone for that whole time I was at rehab for a month, and I owed plugs money, I owed um, some gambling money, I owed some of my bookies, I I like I couldn't text anybody. I was so lit I couldn't even text, and then I was like, my mom dealt with it. My mom had to call my supervisor, and I was like, just tell him everything. And I had so many things I needed to take care of, but I just couldn't. It was out of my control, and that's where I'm like, God, please just guide me. I'm gonna show up each day, but it's gonna be okay. Um, and so it was the first couple days. You go in, talk to the doctor. They give you all sorts of meds. You know, gabapentin, you got Lexapro. They're probably taking like 6 different medications. Um, and you know, after a week or two, I started telling everybody to stop taking their medication because they were bullshit. And the doctor ended up calling me in and was like, "You need to stop telling people to stop taking their medicine." Um, which I thought was funny, but I stopped taking mine. Um, so it is bullshit at the end of the day. Um, but facility was nice. You would wake up. I was in a house with a bunch of dope people, and I was in a facility of all sorts of people. So I rolled out the first morning. Everyone's sitting. They're waiting in line for meds in the morning. You take your meds in the morning, afternoon, and at night. So I came out, and they're like, "Hey, what's your drug of choice?" And I was like, "Cocaine, gambling." They're like, "Oh, that's weak shit." I was cooking crack. So like it was finally like a place where you know I wasn't cooking crack or anything, but it was a place where I felt like I wasn't alone. That people do struggle with substances, whether whatever it may be, and it was a place where I felt like okay, and I really understood and appreciated people of all walks of life because the only difference between me and a drug addict out on the street was I had the family that got me the help because I was in a state where I didn't care about anything. I didn't care about I was losing friends. I didn't care about I was hurting my mom, my family. I just cared about fixing my sadness. And, you know, and it kills me when I see people out on the streets because you give them $1, they're gonna go and find a hit offend or something along those lines. Like they don't care. You give them a jacket, they're probably gonna trade it. And that's how the mind works. Like you really don't care. You just care about not being sad. Like you just want to be happy and fix it. So rehab, I felt like I wasn't alone, and those were people of all varieties. Some alcoholics, some Xanax, some there were a couple fentanyl, you know, everything. And so we'd wake up at like 7 or 8 every morning. You go get your meds. They would stock our fridge up so we could cook, and it was kind of a dope vibe. We were allowed to have TVs, so we had a cool group in my house. We had I'd come down and Unc was cooking. He's cooking up breakfast sandwiches, playing some Dirk. Would bump to music in the morning and drink coffee. That was the only we were allowed to have coffee. Some rehabs don't have coffee. You're not allowed to watch TV. You're not allowed to have nicotine. Um, but we had all that, and they would go on vape runs for us every Friday. I usually don't vape, but I had to do something to take the edge off. But overall, good experience. And I was, the first couple of days I was stressing. I'm like, I have all this stuff to take care of, and I was allowed to have one phone call every day. So I'd call my mom, and she was like, "You've never had time to really for yourself to think about what you want." And that really hit me because I had always been on go. I went to college. I'd come home. When I'd come home from college, I'd hang out with my friends, party. Then I go back to college, party, get good grades. Then I moved for my job, party. There was never a period of time where I had to myself to really think, what do I want? Am I happy with where I'm going in life? Because I'm someone who doesn't like vacation. I like my routine. I like to have a schedule. I don't like to go on vacation. It's fun for a day, one or 2 days, but you know, I had time to really self-reflect. And so a typical day at rehab is you wake up, meds, breakfast, then you have like 2 morning sessions where you'll cover topics about drugs, learn how they affect you. Because I've also been doing all of this and drinking and you know taking mushrooms, doing all this, but never really like knew the science behind it or how it can affect you. So we would learn about that, and we'd have 2 sessions like that. Then we would have some sort of fun activity like yoga. We did sound baths, which was kind of lit. The instructor was mad cute. Um, but that, and then we'd have a session at night, and we would go to an AA meeting or an NA meeting. Um, NA is like Narcotics Anonymous, and then AA is Alcoholics Anonymous. And it was cool because you saw so many people and every like a community of people come together, and you weren't alone. I wasn't alone. Um, and I heard so many stories, and like it makes me blessed to have the life I had because you know there are some sad stories out there and some shit people have been through is unimaginable. And you know a lot of times people hold that stuff inside them, and it's ugly stuff. It's ugly stuff, and the only way to cure that you find is through substances, because there's a lot of pain out there. There's a lot of things that people go through that it's hard for me to even fathom, like, but it gives me an appreciation because I saw people that were lower than me that had been through so much that got their ass back up. They picked themselves back up, and that shit inspired me because you know I'm a privileged, well off little white boy, and I had my struggles. But to see some of those other people who had lived on the streets for 3 years, who have had siblings kill themselves, who had had crazy things happen to them, pick their life back up, it really opened up my eyes. And, you know, and they had a big heart. They were there for me. I was there for them. And, you know, I still talk to some of these guys today. They check in on each other. Um, but yeah, it was cool. It was a cool community. There was, I don't even know how many people were there, like 20. Yeah, maybe around 20. So there was a girl's house, two back houses, and then the house I was in. But we'd have a roommate. I had a couple of roommates. But basically, yeah, it was just people that, you know, all have a similar goal. Some people are there because they have to be to try and beat a court case, but a lot of the people really wanted to change their lives. And, you know, there's things like when you get sober, you'll notice the first 2 weeks getting sober, you will have crazy realistic dreams and you'll wake up and be like, what the fuck? And we learned about it. It's like an actual thing. I forget what it's called, but like me and my roommate woke up in the middle of the night, um, tweaking. He's like, "Oh my god, I had a dream about my ex girlfriend, and she tried to stab me." Like, you have like crazy realistic dreams, and if any of you guys are getting sober, have gotten sober, that's a normal thing. If you like the first 2 weeks, first couple of weeks, you will have some crazy dreams and wake up and be like, "Oh my god, what happened?" But things like that, where you feel like you're not alone, and um, so it was like a 28-day program. I think I got out at 21 days. I was doing good. You know, I took it serious, and you know, I had a great counselor. You know, she would pull you into your office, and she was a nice Armenian lady, and you know, she was amazing. And you know, why I liked her so much is she kept it real with me. You know, she she was like, I thought you were gonna leave the first couple days. I saw you walking around, and she didn't beat around the bush. She told me how it was, and I needed that. She also showed sympathy, but you know, she had two younger boys, a little bit younger than me, and um, you know, she had a soft spot. Like, she really cared, and you know, I found out a lot of things that I didn't even know about myself. You know, she got some things out of me that I didn't even know, and it helped me so much. That's why I was able to move forward. That's why I was able to move on with my life, was because of her. And um, because there was things I was holding inside that I didn't even know I had, um, and so many people have that. And I made a video on how you can help find that. It helps you understand why you do the things you do. Why are you trying to numb this pain? There might be a pain that you didn't know you had. And I'm not a huge therapy guy, because I don't like talking about my feelings. No one does, but she helped me a lot. And um, so rehab, people similar to me, didn't feel alone. Therapist, amazing, helped me out, kept it real. Um, you had the doctor, the meds. I don't like that. I think that's bullshit. Um, and you know, it's mainly just not feeling alone and learning about what you're doing to your body, how to navigate environments. The biggest thing is knowing how to handle yourself when you get out. I don't put myself anywhere where I don't belong, anywhere that's going to not lead me to success. I only go in locations that bring me to success. Um, and you learn about how to do that, because you can go to rehab for as long as you want, but if you're not prepared to go out in the real world, you know, there were a couple people who were there the whole week. I would work out with every single day. He went to post rehab facility where you're allowed to go out on your own, but you have to check in at night. He got hammered the first day out of a 30-day rehab. There was another person who was in rehab for a year, got hammered first day out after a year in rehab learning. If you are not prepared to your environment and how you're going to take care of yourself after, you will fail. Like, um, and the things I talk about, the people I talk about in my life, are a way for me to show you guys what my life was like. I don't blame a single person for the things I've done, the things, um, why I did the things I did, why I am the way I am. I don't blame a single person. So when I talk about my ex-girlfriend, when I talk about my old roommates, when I talk about my family, it is for you guys to understand my story and who I am. I don't blame a single person. All those people were great in my life, and I wouldn't take it back for anything. So I take full accountability. And I think a lot of you guys should as well. Be accountable for your actions. Just because you grew up in a certain environment doesn't mean you can't change and you can't grow. Like, I don't want my kids ever seeing um, alcohol or drugs the way I have, because it becomes so normalized. And in certain families, it runs in generations, it runs in your blood, and it can be an ugly, deadly thing. So, rehab, I would recommend it if you find a good one. You know, there, that was a good one. A lot of great people. I was like, they had TVs. I did a lot of self-reflecting, so I wasn't watching much TV, but I had a full gym. I was in California. I had my shirt off. I was just working out all day. We had ping pong table. We had Pac-Man machine. We had a basketball machine. Went on walks every day. Um, just things like that. It was a good group. I got to read a lot. Read some books. But the biggest thing was I really had time to think about my life, think about what I wanted to do, because I never had a period like that. So I know there's so many people watching that you're lost. You're like, where do I go in life now? Like, am I doing it right? Am I okay? Like, are people proud of me? It gives you time to think about all those things, and you can, like, picture it in your mind. You can articulate it. Because when I was in rehab, there were so many different things I needed to take care of, and I wanted to do it all right now, all right now. But the truth of reality is it's day by day. You can't fix everything in one day, but you can fix what you can today. You can fix what you can tomorrow, and those will compound off each other, and you will slowly become the person you want to be. But you have to trust yourself. You have to trust a higher power, whether it be God. You have to put it into something else bigger than yourself, because when you put it all on yourself, it's way too much of a task to comprehend. And you will stress yourself out, and you will resort back to the ways you were before. You know, this isn't a fucking joke. Like, this is real life stuff. And how I am with substances, like, I'm all in or all out. And if I go in again, it's gonna be scary. And it's my life that's out there, because you know I'm a true fiend, and it gets worse and worse each time. So I know what I want now. I want a family one day. I want a beautiful wife one day that grows with me. And if I go back to substances, I'm the absolute worst person, worst version of myself possible. I'm scared of that version of myself. It's ugly, it's scary, and ultimately it'll lead to death. So I can go that way, or I can go the way where I have a beautiful family. I teach my kids. I'm a leader. I'm a leader among men. I'm a leader among people. And I have the ability to do anything I want. I know what car I'm going to have. I know what type of house I'm going to have. I'm going to have a full fucking spa at my house, sauna, cold bath, like everything. I'm going to have a vacation home. I'm going to be a millionaire. And I don't know when, but I'm working my ass off every day, and it will come. You guys watch. I want to record this so you guys can see, and it can inspire you, because no matter where you're at in life, you can't choose the hand you were dealt. You might be growing up in an abusive family, or you're living in a trailer, where you're struggling to have food every day, scared to go home, scared to get off the school bus because you don't know what's going to happen at home today. Or, you might get evicted from your house because your parents can't pay the bill. I don't know, but I know there's people out there struggling. I was blessed to have the life I do. I didn't have to worry about any of those things, and I still had issues. But regardless if you were a privileged kid or a kid in the trailer struggling, you can be who you want to be. But it's all in your mind. And you have to get yourself out. No one's coming to save you. You save yourself. So I want you to write down your goals, write down your dreams, and become the person you want to be day by day. It might take years to get there, but if you show up each day and you stay consistent and you never lie to yourself, you will get there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I truly mean it. I'm here for you guys. My name's Josh McCauley. If you'd like one-on-one coaching, whether it be health, addiction, get jacked, I'm here. DM me on Instagram. The link's in my bio. Peace out, guys. Take care.